Hello, and welcome to the kitchen. My name is Katie, and I'm a dietetic intern with Seattle Pacific University, working with the Lynnwood Food Bank. Join me for some recipes and nutrition tips. Today, I'm going to be preparing an Ethiopian dish called Doro Wat. This is sometimes referred to as the national dish of Ethiopia. This Berberi spiced chicken and egg stew is sometimes reserved by home cooks for special occasions because of its long simmer time. But I think that you will find the ease of preparation and the hands-off simmer time more than justify the vibrant, rich flavors of this dish. I'm by no means an expert in Ethiopian food, but I love it and I want to share with you what I know so that maybe you can try it at home too. Let's go over our ingredients. First, I have 3 pounds of cubed chicken meat. I have here some chicken breast that I cut into 2-inch cubes. You could also use thighs, you could use drumsticks, or you could use wings. The difference between a light meat like chicken breast and a dark meat like chicken thighs is that dark meat is higher in both saturated and unsaturated fat. It's also higher in minerals like iron. Next, I have 1 fresh lemon. We'll be squeezing this for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. You could also use a pre-squeezed lemon juice, or if you wanted to use a different kind of acid, you could use vinegar. I have some fresh ginger, some fresh garlic. I have 3 sweet yellow onions that we'll be mincing up for about 3 cups of minced onion. I have some butter. Here I have some knitter kibbeh. This is a type of clarified butter that's made cooking the butter with cardamom, fenugreek, coriander, cumin, a mixture of spices. You can also see from the yellow color, this one has turmeric. You can find kibbeh in any East African import store or Ethiopian market. Next, I have some hard-boiled eggs. And here I have the star of the show. Here I have a bag of Berberi. This is a very commonly used spice mixture in Ethiopian cooking. It starts with dried and ground Berberi peppers. That's what gives it that vibrant red color. But a mixture could have anywhere from 12 to 25 other spices, and those mixtures are sometimes family secrets. You can often find at an Ethiopian market a pre-mixed Berberi spice blend. You can also sometimes find dried and ground Berberi pepper by itself, which you can bring home and make your own mixture. All right, lastly for ingredients, we would want to use tej, which is a type of honey wine. It's made with water, honey, and a shrub called gesso. The market I went to did not sell alcohol. Tej is usually between 7 and 11% alcohol. And so instead, for this recipe today, I'm going to be using white wine vinegar and some honey. I will also need some chicken stock, or here we have chicken broth. Let's go over our kitchen equipment. We will need a large Dutch oven. We'll be using this for the long simmering process. I have some measuring tools. Here I have a liquid measuring cup. I have a 1/4 and 1/2 measuring cup. I have a teaspoon and a tablespoon. I have a stirring device, a chef knife, cutting board, and like I mentioned before, we'll be mincing up 3 cups of yellow onion. This could be done with a knife and a cutting board, or it could be done in a food processor. Once you have your chicken cubed up, you're going to want to take your lemon. We'll be squeezing this lemon juice directly onto the chicken and allowing it to sit for at least 30 minutes so that the acid in the lemon is going to help tenderize, start to break down the proteins in that chicken meat. One tip for juicing any citrus is to put it down on a hard surface and putting pressure with the palm of your hand, rolling it back and forth. This will help to burst some of the capillaries that are inside of the fruit. And the capillaries are those pockets that are storing juice. Doing this will give us kind of a head start on juicing this lemon. Once I give it a good rolling squeeze, I'm going to use my knife, cut it into 4 pieces. And I'm just going to use my other hand to work as a sieve to catch any seeds that may come out while I'm squeezing it. I'm going to squeeze it into my fingers and allow all of that juice to drip onto our chicken. We'll want this chicken to sit with the lemon juice for at least 30 minutes. So it's good to start with this step first, and next we can move on to our onion. So I have my 3 yellow onions here, and I'm beginning to process them. So we want about 3 cups of finely minced yellow onion. I'm going to be using a food processor today just as a time saver, but you can absolutely do this with a knife and a cutting board. I've roughly chopped up the first 2 onions, and I have my 3rd onion here. So I'm just going to roughly chop this up and add it in with the food processor, where I will pulse all of the onions for a minute or 2 until we have kind of a finely minced pureed texture. Now it's time to begin cooking. First, I'm going to turn on the burner underneath my Dutch oven to a medium-low heat. Next, I'm going to add my fats. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of my knitter kebab, which is our seasoned clarified butter. 1 and 2. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of our olive oil. Got 1, 2. Want to make sure we get all of that fat in there. So as this starts to melt, you'll be kind of combining, raising the heat in the Dutch oven. Then we're going to add our minced onion. So the onion I have here, because I did use the food processor, again, you could mince the onion to this really fine texture with a knife and a cutting board. I'm going to put this into our Dutch oven. This onion we're going to cook with our fats low and slow for about 45 minutes on a very low heat. So our onions have been cooking with the fat for about 45 minutes, stirring occasionally to make sure they're not sticking to the bottom. Now we're ready to add our minced garlic and ginger. So I have both of those minced here. One tip for ginger is you can use a knife to mince that, or you could also use a cheese grater, scraping it along the side and the skin will naturally peel away. This method of mincing will produce more liquid. It's going to be a drier mince if you use a knife to mince it. With the garlic, you want to make sure you mince that about 5 to 10 minutes before adding it to your heat source. And here's why. Mincing fresh garlic breaks apart cell walls, it releases enzymes, and exposes them to the open air. The process of doing this creates a compound called allicin, which is great heart healthy benefits. So remember, when you're adding fresh garlic to your dish, to mince it about 5 to 10 minutes early to allow it to breathe. So I'm going to add our garlic and our ginger to our Dutch oven. I'm also going to add about a tablespoon of butter, including more fat. And I'm going to give this a stir and then I'll give you a peek. So I just added our garlic and our ginger and a tablespoon of butter to our onion mixture. We're going to allow this to simmer on low heat for another 20 minutes, stirring occasionally. Next, I'm going to add our 1/4 cup of Burberry spice mixture and 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to stir, cover, and cook for another 45 minutes on low heat. So here is our mixture of onions, garlic, ginger, fats, and Burberry spices. Now we're ready to add our chicken. So our mixture has been simmering. It smells amazing. Now we are ready to add our chicken and our liquids. So I have here our cubed chicken that have been sitting in that lemon juice. I'm going to add this. I'm also going to add what would have been 1/2 cup of the tej, the honey wine. I was unable to find some, so instead I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar with a 1/4 cup of water and a tablespoon of honey, and that will be my replacement for that. I'm also going to add 1 cup of chicken stock and 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I have all of that mixed in here. I'm just going to pour it in. Give this a good stir. We will bring this liquidy mixture up to a boil, and then we will reduce the heat to a simmer and cook for another 45 minutes. So our Doro Wat has been simmering with the chicken in it for about 45 minutes. We've been checking it over that time, stirring it. At this point, taste the stew, see if you want to adjust the seasoning at all by adding more Burberry, adding more salt, maybe adding more lemon juice or acid. Once you've adjusted the spice mixture to your liking, next we're going to add our hard-boiled eggs. So you have hard-boiled egg, already peeled off the outer shell. Take a fork and poke holes around the egg about 1/4 inch deep. What these holes will do is create pockets that the stew can seep inside and flavor the egg. When we serve the dish, we can slice up these eggs and use them as another protein and kind of a garnish on the side of the dish. This one's poked. I'm going to plop it in. You can use as many eggs as you want. With the 3 cups of chicken, it was suggested to use 4 eggs. You can use as many as you want, or you can omit them. So this one has some holes in it now. I'm going to plop this one in. Get that covered in our wat in the stew. And I'm going to let those cook in there for another 15 minutes. We have arrived. It's been hours of simmering, but all of these spices and aromas have come together in a beautiful harmony. It is spicy and zesty. It is fiery and earthy. It's a beautiful celebration of flavors. My eggs have been in here for about 15 minutes and they've taken on a beautiful dark golden color with having soaked up all of those spices. I'm going to serve the stew with the eggs sliced on top. And I didn't mention before, but in the name Doro Wat, Doro means chicken. So if you see that in other Ethiopian dishes, it means they have chicken. And Wat means stew, which is often categorized as one like this, that has onion and berberry and the clarified butter kibbeh. I'm going to serve this with some vegetables, and I'm going to serve it on top of some injera. So here's the one I bought from my local Ethiopian market. Most Ethiopian and East African markets will make injera that you can buy there fresh daily. You can also make it yourself with teff flour. It's fermented for 3 days, so it has a sour, tangy taste, and the fermentation creates these bubbles that are perfect for soaking up flavor. The recipe we made today serves about 8. So in one serving, it has approximately 480 calories, 8 grams of carbohydrate, 30 grams of protein, 35 grams of fat, 660 milligrams of sodium, and it's really high in vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, and iron. Thank you for joining me today with making this Doro Wat dish from Ethiopia. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you get to try it at home. Thank you.